To win without force, you must master the unseen. Victory is not always a matter of strength. Sometimes, it is a matter of illusion. The battlefield is as much a theater as it is a contest of wills. When your opponent believes a shadow to be a fortress, you have already gained the upper hand. Consider the ancient wars, where armies marched not only with swords but with stories. The art of deception has shaped the rise and fall of empires. It carved pathways for the clever and sealed fates for the overconfident. Julius Caesar knew this well. All warfare is based on deception. The phrase is simple yet profound. It is the cornerstone of strategy. To conquer, you must first control what your enemy believes to be true. What if you could bend reality, not with force, but with cunning? What if your most potent weapon was the mind of your adversary? This is the domain of strategic misdirection. Welcome to a masterclass on the power of deception. Here, you will learn to move beyond brute strength and direct confrontation. Instead, you will command the invisible currents beneath the surface of conflict. Deception is not chaos. It is precision. It is not luck. It is design. It is the silent language spoken between the lines of battle plans and boardroom deals alike. History offers countless lessons. The Trojan horse, a gift that was no gift, stands as a testament to the lethal power of illusion. The enemy's guard lowered, blinded by trust and spectacle, and thus the city fell. In the modern era, deception has evolved but never lost its edge. Fake radio transmissions, decoy tanks, and false troop movements have rewritten the outcomes of entire campaigns. The outcome hinges on who controls perception. Control perception, and you control prediction. Control prediction, and you control the game. This course will guide you through the intricate dance of misdirection. You will understand how to shape your opponent's decisions, manipulate their expectations, and steer their actions without ever revealing your true intent. Imagine being able to dictate the terms of engagement before a single move is made. To be seen when it matters. Invisible when it counts. Deception is the strategist's quiet power. It is the whisper that turns the tide. Not every victory is won on the front lines. Some are won in the shadows, in the subtle shifts of belief and doubt. The question is not whether you can deceive. The question is whether you will master the art of deception before your opponent masters you. Consider this your invitation to step beyond the obvious, to enter the realm where perception is the battlefield and misdirection the weapon of choice. Here, strength is measured not by muscle, but by mental agility. To anticipate before the enemy moves, to mislead before they strike. This is the essence of strategic mastery. Recall the words of Sun Tzu, the ancient master of strategy. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. Feign disorder and crush him. It is not enough to fight harder. You must fight smarter. You must fight unseen. This is the power of deception, a power that transcends time and technology. It is as relevant in ancient skirmishes as it is in modern boardrooms or competitive sports. In this masterclass, you will uncover how deception shapes decisions and alters the course of events without direct conflict. How it can save resources, minimize risk, and create opportunities that brute force alone cannot. You will learn to wield illusion as a shield and a spear, to cloak your true intentions while drawing your opponent into traps of their own making. To do this requires discipline and insight. It demands understanding the psychology of your adversary, the flow of information, and the subtle signals that reveal hidden truths. Strategic misdirection is no accident. It is a crafted narrative designed to mislead and manipulate. It is the silent war waged in the mind, where the faintest ripple can cause the strongest fortress to crumble. Before we proceed, ask yourselves, how often have you been fooled by appearances? How many times has what seemed obvious turned out to be a carefully laid trap? In the coming lessons, you will learn to recognize these patterns, to anticipate deception before it ensnares you, to become the architect of your own illusions. Remember, deception isn't dishonesty. It's strategy. Control perception, and you control prediction. Control prediction, and you control the game. Prepare yourselves. The battlefield is not just where swords clash, but where minds engage in silent combat. This is your first step toward mastering the unseen forces that decide victory. Are you ready to see beyond the veil? The power to deceive is the power to win without fighting. This is your advantage. This is your legacy. Deception isn't dishonesty. It's strategy. This distinction is crucial. When we speak of deception in the realm of strategy, we speak of deliberate, controlled action, not reckless falsehood. It is an ethical weapon wielded with precision, a tool to shape reality rather than distort it blindly. Consider the battlefield once more. Overt actions are loud, visible, and often predictable. They lay bare your intentions. In contrast, covert maneuvers whisper secrets, bend expectations, and dance in shadows. Both have their place, but only one grants the true advantage of surprise. Why reveal your hand when you can manipulate your opponent's perception? When you force them to act on false assumptions, you command the tempo of engagement. You dictate the terms without firing a shot. This is the power of strategic misdirection. The art of hiding your true moves behind a veil of ambiguity. The enemy sees what you want them to see, not what is real. Ambiguity is your ally. Predictability is your enemy. The moment you appear certain, you become vulnerable. The moment you appear predictable, you invite attack. Maintaining uncertainty in your strategy is not merely a tactic, it is a philosophy. It forces your opponent into a state of hesitation, confusion, and ultimately, error. In competitive environments, this principle holds as true as on the battlefield. Business negotiations, political campaigns, sports, all arenas where the victor is often the one who controls the narrative. Imagine a chess player who reveals their next move openly. They would be defeated in moments. Instead, the best players feint, delay, and mislead, creating complex webs that their opponents struggle to untangle. This is the essence of strategic deception, the deliberate cultivation of doubt and misinformation to create leverage. But make no mistake, this is not chaos. It is discipline. It is not random falsehoods scattered like leaves in the wind. It is a controlled cascade of information designed to mislead without betraying the integrity of your overall plan. The advantages are clear: surprise, initiative, and control. When your opponent is confused, you are free to strike where they are weakest. When they hesitate, you seize the moment to advance. This is the advantage of the unseen hand, the one that moves pieces on the board while the opponent focuses on shadows. To harness this power, you must understand the delicate balance between revealing and concealing. Too little information and your moves become blind guesses. Too much and you lay bare your intentions. Silence can be as powerful as speech. Inaction can provoke false confidence. Both are tools in the strategist's arsenal. By carefully disclosing select pieces of information, you invite your opponent to draw conclusions you have engineered. This is not manipulation for its own sake, but a calculated move to shape their decisions. The question is, what do you reveal and when? What truths become bait, and what lies become traps? This balance is the heart of strategic deception. It requires insight into your opponent's psychology, their fears, hopes, and expectations. It requires you to think not just about what you do, but about how your actions will be perceived and interpreted. Deception thrives in the mind of your adversary. To deceive effectively, you must become a master of perception. Consider this: the most dangerous enemy is not the one who attacks with force, but the one who controls what you believe to be true. When you can influence perception, you gain the power to shape reality itself. Your opponent acts not on facts, but on their interpretation of facts, and you are the architect of that interpretation. This is a subtle, powerful form of control. It demands patience and foresight. It demands that you plan several moves ahead, anticipating reactions and counterreactions. To be effective, strategic deception must be integrated into every layer of your plan. It is not an afterthought or a desperate gambit. It is woven into the fabric of your approach. The goal is not merely to confuse, but to create opportunity, to open pathways that would otherwise be closed by direct confrontation. When your opponent is chasing shadows, you move freely in the light. When they are preoccupied with false threats, you strike at their real vulnerabilities. This is the advantage of misdirection, the ability to dictate the flow of battle without direct engagement. Remember that ambiguity is a shield. It protects your true intentions. It forces your opponent into a reactive position. In this way, strategic deception is a form of mental warfare. It is a battle fought in perceptions, expectations, and assumptions, the unseen battlefield where the war is often won or lost. What does this mean for you? It means embracing uncertainty, both in your own mind and in the minds of your opponents. It means cultivating flexibility and unpredictability. You must be comfortable with the unknown, for it is in the unknown that opportunity hides. It is in the fog of uncertainty that you find your advantage. This is not the path of brute force. It is the path of subtlety and cunning. Ask yourselves, how often have you relied solely on direct action? How often have you underestimated the power of perception? To master deception is to master the interplay between what is seen and what is hidden. As Sun Tzu teaches, appear weak when you are strong, and strong when you are weak. This is the paradox at the heart of strategic misdirection. To win, you must sometimes appear vulnerable. To succeed, you must sometimes mask your strength. Deception is not a betrayal of truth, it is its transformation. It is the deliberate crafting of reality to serve your purpose. Control perception, and you control prediction. Control prediction, and you control the game. Prepare to delve deeper into the tools and techniques that make this possible. To understand how feints, false signals, and controlled information leaks become your most potent weapons. But first, internalize this truth. Deception is not a shortcut. It is a discipline. It requires rigorous thought, psychological insight, and unwavering resolve. Master it, and you gain the power to shape outcomes before the first move is made. Fail to grasp it, and you become a victim of your own assumptions, predictable, exposed, and defeated. Feints, false signals, controlled leaks. These are not mere tricks. They are the core techniques of strategic misdirection. To deceive effectively, you must speak in a language your opponent understands, but twist the meaning beneath the surface. Each action, each message, each movement must serve a calculated purpose. Feints lure your opponent into false confidence. They are the bait that conceals the hook. A maneuver that suggests vulnerability where there is strength. A retreat that masks preparation for a sudden strike. False signals amplify this effect. They are deliberate distractions, noisy, visible, and designed to draw attention away from your true intent. Controlled information leaks are the whisper in the chaos. Selective disclosures, carefully timed and crafted to mislead without revealing critical truths. Together, these methods create a tapestry of deception, a dynamic play of shadows and light that confounds your adversary's perception. To master these techniques, you must first understand the power of perception itself. What your opponent believes to be true shapes their decisions. They act based on incomplete or distorted information, and you decide what they see. There are three primary forms of deception crucial to this mastery: positional, psychological, and operational. Positional deception hides your true location or strength. It is the art of masking your forces or resources, making them appear weaker or stronger than they are. Imagine an army that erects decoy camps, fake artillery, or phantom divisions. The enemy commits forces to the wrong target, wasting strength and losing initiative. Psychological deception targets the mind directly. It exploits fears, expectations, and emotions. It sows doubt and confusion, encouraging your opponent to misinterpret your intentions. Examples include spreading rumors, displaying false confidence, or feigning disorder to invite reckless attacks. It is the manipulation of belief itself, a silent but deadly weapon. Operational deception involves timing and execution. It is the orchestration of actions to mislead about when and how you will strike. Delaying an attack while creating signs of immediate aggression, or launching an assault where none is expected. These are operational ploys that unsettle and disorient. Each form of deception supports the others. Together, they form a cohesive strategy that controls the flow of battle without direct confrontation. To wield these techniques, you must think like a playwright, crafting scenes that mislead while advancing your true plot. Every movement, every communication, every pause is deliberate. Feints are your opening act. They engage your opponent's attention and invite a response. But they must be credible. A feint that is too obvious risks exposure. One that is too subtle risks being ignored. False signals amplify the illusion. They create noise that obscures your real intentions. Radio chatter, troop movements, public statements, all can be manipulated to mislead. Controlled leaks are the whispers that confirm the false narrative. They plant seeds of belief, nudging your opponent's assumptions in the direction you desire. Consider the psychological impact. When your opponent acts on false information, they commit resources poorly. They hesitate where they should advance and advance where they should defend. This is your window, the moment when confusion creates opportunity. The dance of deception is a game of timing and restraint. Reveal too much, your secret is lost. Reveal too little, your opponent guesses correctly. Precision is key. Each technique must be calibrated to your opponent's mindset, the environment, and the stakes at hand. Sun Tzu offers timeless insight. By altering your arrangements and changing your plans, you keep the enemy without definite knowledge. This is the essence of strategic agility. To adapt and shift, to become a moving target in a landscape of uncertainty. Your opponent must never be allowed to settle into certainty. You must be the unpredictable force, the shadow that shifts shape and direction with every glance. Imagine an adversary who believes your main force is on the left flank. You've deployed decoys, false radio traffic, and visible preparations there. Meanwhile, your real strength moves silently to the right. This positional deception ensures the enemy commits their resources to the wrong place. They are outmaneuvered before the battle even begins. Psychological deception complements this by sowing doubt. Perhaps rumors spread that your forces are exhausted or lacking morale. Your enemy grows overconfident, underestimating your readiness. Operational deception seals the trap. You time your attack to strike just as the enemy's focus is fixed elsewhere, exploiting their distracted state and fractured defenses. This layered approach is not accidental. It is a symphony of misdirection, each element reinforcing the others to maximize effect. Such complexity demands careful planning and discipline. Deception is a double-edged sword. If poorly executed, it can backfire, exposing your vulnerabilities. Therefore, the strategist must constantly monitor the flow of information, adjusting the narrative as circumstances evolve. Flexibility is paramount. Remember, the goal is to create conditions favorable to your success before you engage directly, to shape the battlefield so that victory becomes inevitable. This is the highest form of control, not through brute force, but through the manipulation of belief and expectation. Be seen when it matters, invisible when it counts. In the next segment, we will explore how to implement these techniques practically, how to transform theory into action without ethical compromise, and how history has proven their effectiveness. For now, reflect on this. Every move you make sends a message. What message do you want your opponent to receive? The mastery of deception lies in the answers. Disclose information deliberately, but only what serves your purpose. Silence can speak volumes. Inaction can provoke false confidence. These are the tools you wield when implementing strategic misdirection. Practical application demands discipline and subtlety. It is not a scattershot of lies, but a calculated orchestration of truths and half-truths. First, consider the power of controlled disclosure. Sharing select information invites your opponent to draw conclusions you have carefully engineered. This is not deceit for its own sake. It is the planting of seeds in fertile ground, knowing they will grow into beliefs that guide your adversary's actions. Imagine a general who allows false documents to fall into enemy hands, suggesting a troop movement that will never occur. The enemy reallocates forces, leaving their defenses weak elsewhere. This is the essence of deliberate disclosure, a weapon forged from knowledge and timing. Next, silence and inaction serve as strategic tools. By withholding response, you create gaps in the information your opponent relies upon. They fill these gaps with assumptions, often optimistic ones. This provokes overconfidence, lures them into premature action, or causes them to lower their guard. The absence of movement can be more telling than action itself. Consider a chess player who refuses to respond to a threatening posture. The opponent may misinterpret this silence as weakness, prompting a reckless advance. Finally, distractions and decoys divert attention from your true objectives. Deploying visible but false threats forces your opponent to divide their focus and resources. Decoys can be physical, fake equipment, phantom units, or psychological, rumors, false signals, staged communications. Together, these tactics create a fog of uncertainty that clouds your adversary's judgment. To illustrate, examine one of history's most masterful examples, the Allied deception before D-Day. In 1944, The Allies faced the daunting task of invading Nazi-occupied France. Success demanded not just strength, but cunning. Operation Bodyguard was the grand deception plan designed to mislead Hitler and his generals about the true invasion site. The Allies employed fake radio traffic, inflatable tanks, and phantom army groups to suggest invasions at Pas-de-Calais in Norway. They released false intelligence through double agents and manipulated German reconnaissance. The result was a powerful illusion. German forces remained fixed on the wrong locations, hesitant to redeploy even after the Normandy landings began. This misdirection saved countless lives and secured a crucial foothold in Europe. The lessons are clear. Deliberate disclosure shapes enemy expectations. Silence and inaction provoke false confidence. Distractions divide and weaken enemy focus. But applying these tactics demands more than mimicry. It requires insight into your opponent's mindset, the environment, and timing. You must constantly assess what information benefits your strategy. When does silence become a liability? How can you craft distractions that compel enemy response? Deception is a living, breathing process, dynamic and responsive. Every piece of information released or withheld must serve a purpose. Every feint must fit within a broader plan. As Sun Tzu advised, the whole secret lies in confusing the enemy so that he cannot fathom our real intent. Practical implementation means embracing this confusion, directing it, shaping it, making it your ally. In your own strategic pursuits, consider these principles carefully. To misdirect effectively. 1. Disclose with intention, guiding enemy assumptions. 2. Use silence to unsettle and provoke. 3. Employ distractions to fracture focus and resources. Master these, and you control not only what your opponent sees, but how they act. The battlefield, the boardroom, the arena, all become yours to command. In the next chapter, we will reflect on the philosophy underpinning these tactics and how to cultivate the deeper mastery of deception. For now, ask yourselves, how will you shape the story your opponent believes? Control perception, and you control prediction. Control prediction, and you control the game. To master deception, you must master perception itself. Not just the surface, but the depths beneath. Deception is more than tactics. It is a philosophy, a way of seeing the battlefield as a theater of the mind. The greatest strategists understand this. Controlling belief is as vital as controlling territory. It is the unseen hand that shapes reality before a single move is made. Reflect on your own approach. How often do you take for granted the assumptions others make? How often do you fail to question what your opponent believes? Deception acts both as a shield and a spear. It defends your intentions from exposure while striking at the vulnerabilities hidden behind your adversary's misconceptions. To wield this power, you must anticipate reactions before they occur. You must think several steps ahead, predicting how your misdirection will unfold in the minds of others. This level of mastery demands mental agility and emotional discipline. It asks you to hold multiple realities in your mind simultaneously: the truth you know, the illusion you project, and the perception you manipulate. Consider the paradox. To deceive effectively, you must believe in your own deception. Doubt weakens the narrative. Confidence solidifies it. Control perception, and you control prediction. Control prediction, and you control the game. From ancient battlefields to modern conflicts, this principle remains timeless. The Allied deception before D-Day is a case study in this mastery. The success of Operation Bodyguard was not merely in physical decoys, but in shaping the German command's beliefs and expectations. By controlling what the enemy thought was true, the Allies controlled where and how the battle was fought. This story is a reminder. Mastery of deception is mastery of narrative. Ask yourselves, what narratives do you control? What perceptions shape the decisions of those around you? To harness deception is to become the author of outcomes rather than a passive participant. It is a call to elevate your strategic thinking, to see beyond the obvious and shape the unseen. As you move forward, integrate these lessons. Evaluate your own tactics. Identify where ambiguity can be introduced, where expectations can be shifted, where your opponent's assumptions can be challenged. Deception is not a single act, but a continuous process. A dance of shadows and light that demands vigilance and creativity. When you master this dance, you become a force that moves unseen, strikes unanticipated, and wins without fighting. Remember, be seen when it matters, invisible when it counts. This is the essence of strategic misdirection. The power to control perception is the power to control destiny. Seize it, master it, and shape the future on your terms.